Hello, my name is Shalana Battles and welcome to what will hereforth be known as Chaos in the Margins. We got a love that's worth the wait. I sent out an email yesterday and I did a blog post talking about this shift in my branding. And I'm very excited about it. So I wanted to record a YouTube video today because it's been 8 months, yes, 8 months since I've done that. So I wanted to record it and kind of talk about the brand change a little bit, reasons behind that, and kind of what to expect. The other thing is I wanted to give a Grand Mesa Men update, and I also wanted to talk about goals because it is December now. It's like barely December, right? Yeah, December 3rd. I was checking my calendar. And I sat down today and I watched my goal video from January. And so I wanted to talk about it because now here we are in December and it's really funny. I feel like to think about everything I didn't accomplish, everything I did accomplish but didn't expect. It wasn't even on my radar. And then some things that I just didn't do. And so let's talk about them. First and foremost, my biggest goal in that January video was to publish the Grand Mesa Men series, which obviously I have not done. It is still my #1 priority. That has not changed at all. I just shifted it to hopefully January, February. I'm not gonna announce a day until I know it's the day, because I have really big plans for this series. I've talked about it in other videos. I really want to do a Kickstarter. I really want to do like a book box where you're getting the whole series at once, not just one book at a time. Like, these books took me a long time because I had this vision in my head of how I wanted to publish them, and that vision hasn't changed. And so getting all my ducks in a row for that, making sure they have, you know, those final proofreads, which I found a proofreader who I really love. And yeah, just kind of tying up loose ends. I want to have like a promo box that I can actually post pictures of and stuff before I launch this Kickstarter. So those things are happening. They're just not happening as quickly as I wanted them to, which is 98% my fault. But no fear, no worries. We're rolling with it. The books will get published. And I think I'll be really happy with them. I think you'll be really happy with them as readers when they are that package that I've been describing and been visioning this whole time. Something that I didn't expect to happen that also kind of played into the Grand Mesa Men series not getting published was I built an editing business. I had my Fiverr back in January when I made my goal video, but I didn't expect it to take off the way that it did. And don't get me wrong, I'm not like doing phenomenal or anything, but I've booked enough jobs this year and enough big jobs, like full manuscripts or even manuscripts that have sequels, that I've been really busy. And I try very hard to have constant communication with my clients, and so I'm always open to talking after I deliver their work to them, talking after we do revisions, and kind of being like a mentor or somebody they can bounce ideas off of. And so when I book a client, yes, it might have like a 2-week deadline, but realistically, I'm talking to people still in December that I booked at the beginning of this year, because a big part of what I wanted to do was build relationships with other writers. And I hope that I'm doing that, and I think that I am. And so I think a lot of the time when it was like, oh, I need to write, or oh, I need to work on the Grand Mesa Men series, it turned out, oh no, you gotta edit because you have a deadline. And so balancing those two things was hard this year, and I I'm glad it happened this year because hopefully by 2025 I have a much more streamlined process and I know better how to schedule myself and things like that. So something else I mentioned in the 2024 video, which I didn't do this year. I said in the 2024 video that I probably wouldn't do it this year, and I was right, but I still want to do it, is mini stories or mini series. There's so many strings that come off of all of my books, and if you've read them, I'm sure you have some in your head. Like Soul Jumper, everybody that I talk to that's read Soul Jumper wants Logan's story. And everybody that I talk to that's read The Man Before You wants Jesse's story, which I really want to at some point write a short story or a novella for him. And so there's all these things, and I would love to write the Jesse story of him and his wife before she passed, and then give Jesse a fresh kind of love story after the Grand Mesa Men series kind of comes to a close. And I've got seeds planted for that already. I'm going a direction, but I'm not gonna say anything about that right now. So yes, those things are coming, and I'm really hoping the blog is a way for me to start that right now. I really want to start using my blog more, and not just to post like, you know, writing updates or whatever, but use the blog to post my short stories and use the blog to post these like shorter novellas. So I'm excited about that. I hope that 2025 is the place where that starts. Yeah, I mentioned merch in that video. I also said I'm not really interested in doing merch. That hasn't changed either. What I want to do is collaboration book boxes. And I've talked to people in the past about this. I'll continue talking to people. Like at some point I'll make that happen. That's my goal. Is I don't care as much about merch. Like I don't need like a shirt with my logo on it or a coffee mug with my logo on it. That works really well for some people and like the types of books they write. And for some of my stuff it would work. I could definitely have like a Grand Mesa Men series collection and like Mesa Bloom Market and do some really fun things. And I'm not saying I never will. But I really want to have some sort of subscription box. Like that's where my passion lies. I would love to have where it's like my books and some other indie authors, and we have the stickers and the coffee mugs and the, you know, the shirts and the eye mask and the candles and coffee and whatever. And it's, you know, something that you get, my vision, which could always change, is every season. And I said that in the January video as well. So if you're watching this, if you happen to be watching this and you are an indie author or you are a small business owner and you would like to collaborate on something like this, please reach out to me because I would love to do it. And I think it could be something really, really cool for different indie authors to work on together, or other small business owners to work on together if you have kind of bookish things that you sell. Marketing, I talked about that in the 2024 video in January. I said it sucks. It still sucks. That hasn't changed. But I am working with a social media manager again, same one as before, Mariah. She's fantastic. I adore her. Honestly, if I had a lot of money, I would just have her do everything, just take over all of it. So I'm still doing some of it, but I'm hoping that as time goes on and I continue to hopefully grow, that I'm able to hand over more and more pieces to Mariah, because she's fantastic at it. She's very good and she seems to enjoy it. I don't know if she does, but she seems to. And I don't, and I'd rather be writing. And so I'm really glad that we can be partners again, she started yesterday was the first post that she did for me. And so I'm very excited to go into 2025 with her already with me. Community building, I talked about that. That hasn't changed. I think my editing has been really good for this. Meeting other indie authors and connecting with them and what they're writing and what they're doing. 2025, I'd love to go to Author Nation. That's been a goal for a long time. It's in Vegas, and it's something I'd love to be able to do and meet other people, and just more of an online presence. Not just posting, but like engaging with other people and just kind of like building that community. That has always been important to me. It's just something that I've always struggled with. Not the building community part, the consistency part. And that's where I always struggle. I have these very big ideas and these very big goals all the time, but following through and being consistent is so hard for me. And it's funny because my husband also has ADHD, so do I. And we were laughing the other day because we were talking about, he used to be oil filled, and we were talking about the go, 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 go of the oil filled and how everything's just popping off all the time. And I was like, that's probably why they hire all of you people with ADHD, so that things get done like quick. And he's all, well, things will get started quick. And we thought that was hilarious because it's so true. A lot of projects get started and not very many get finished. And I'm learning barely now in my early 30s to navigate that, and to think about structuring my business model around that. And I talked to two of my friends the other day about like how my moods are so productive and motivated and driven, and like even right now you can tell I have a lot of energy. It's winter, and I always get that way in the winter time. In my January video, I'm very excited and it's winter. But for whatever reason, when winter's done and I'm hitting like spring and fall and summer, I lose motivation quickly. I drop off quickly. I struggle with that a lot. And so my friends are like, girl, you have seasonal depression. Which probably is true. I don't know. I've only been diagnosed with ADHD, so I can't speak on seasonal depression, but that's probably what's going on. And putting that into my business model. Okay, what does all of these goals look like, and what I want look like with ADHD? What does it look like knowing how I'm going to feel in winter versus how I'm going to feel in the middle portion of the year? And really thinking about scheduling like when I write books and when I publish books and when I schedule editing jobs based on those things. And so in 2024, my word for the year was growth. And I feel like I did that in so many ways. Like, did I meet every expectation? No, but I met most of them. And watching that video today made me realize that so often when you think you failed at something and you're beating yourself up over it, you forget to look at all the stuff you accomplished. And that's what I encourage you to do as we get to these like final days of 2024 is, yes, it's okay to acknowledge like, hey, I didn't do that. Hey, I wasn't consistent there. But also look at all the growth that happened. Like, I feel very good about 2024 in terms of like growing my editing business. Me and my husband together in a little over a year have built this amazing waste removal company, Black Mountain Waste, and we have a huge customer base now, and we're doing some really cool stuff there that I know is going to keep growing. My kids and everything they've accomplished this year is amazing. The fact that all of the sacrifices that my husband makes so that I can stay home with my kids. I mean, I work too, but you know, there's a lot of me being able to do that ties directly into what he does for work and the sacrifices he makes. Growth as a person this last year, I feel like has been huge for me. Really just finding my confidence and my voice and not being afraid to say like, no, I'm not doing that. So there's so many ways where I've grown a ton. And I've been doing a lot of back end things with my business, like I said, thinking through a lot of these, how do I pair this with my moods and my ADHD and my lifestyle and homeschooling my son and working a full-time job, both the business I own with my husband and I have another job with the National Monument Association. And so all of these things and planning them out and thinking them out, and the growth was great. I'm happy with the growth. So 2025, my word for 2025 is going to be intentional. And it's funny because we've been talking about that at my other job, but I think it's very fitting to be very intentional in 2025 about everything. Personal stuff, you know, like being intentional about homeschool with my kids, and being intentional about eating healthy, and being intentional about exercising, and being intentional about writing, and being intentional about scheduling, and being intentional about routines, and being intentional about my consistency. And so I'm excited to focus on that word. This whole last year, I every single day wrote down the word growth in all capital letters on my planner, and I wrote down my 5 like, I don't know what they would be considered, like manifestations, I guess. So I have 5 of those that went with my vision board, and I wrote them down every day, and I feel like that really helped. So I plan to carry that into 2025. The difference now is I'm going all digital. I think it will help with my consistency. I'm on a phone so much and I'm on a computer so much because of the type of work I do, that I think it'll help me to have like my hand on my calendar, and my hand, Google also does the tasks now, which I love, because you can actually make multiple to-do lists in your Google Calendar and mark things completed. So I have sections for different things. Everything's color coded. Like, I took a deep dive into digital planning, and I think it's going to be really good for me. I'll get the reminders on my phone. I have the Google Calendar up all the time on my computer already. So I'm starting that now toward the end of the year, carrying that into 2025. So I'll use that every day to have like my word, intentional, and my 5 manifestations. And I'll probably talk more about those maybe in another video, or once I do my vision board in January, and talk about which ones I'm keeping and which ones I am changing or adding, or however that works out. The last thing that I want to talk about and leave you with is this chaos in the margins shift. I wanted to shift from just my name on my blog, or just the word blog, and then just my name on my YouTube, to something that really kind of fit me. And my LLC is Chaos Publishing and Design. And I wanted something that went with that, and that also encompassed writing, and also could encompass lifestyle if I ever decide to do some more videos like that. So I thought chaos in the margins, can't go wrong. Everything over here is chaotic. And it kind of also reminded me of like reading in between the lines, and all this stuff that ties in to just me as a person and me as an author. So I'm excited about the name change. I'm also working towards changing some colors and things like that on my website, and just little branding things, so you may notice some of that as 2025 keeps coming. I worked on the YouTube channel today, so some things there are already changed. I'm excited to see where that takes us. I'm excited to really focus on my blog in 2025 and using that for those short stories, and focus on publishing. I have big publishing aspirations for 2025, and focus on growing my editing, and then social media, obviously, along with that, with the help of Mariah. So I'm very excited. I hope that you guys take the time to sit down and think about where you were in January, where you were in the beginning of this year, and where you are now. And don't just focus on everything that didn't happen. Focus on all that you accomplished, because I'm sure it was a lot. And keep going. Keep going. I said this in my blog yesterday. If you have a goal, if you have a dream, October, I believe October of 2025 will be 5 years. 5 years, which is mind-blowing to me, since I published Soul Jumper. So it's my 5th anniversary as an indie author, and that is wild to me. And I've done a lot in 5 years, but I'm not to where I want to be. But in 5 years, I've had 2 kids, I've moved multiple times, I've changed jobs multiple times, my husband's changed jobs multiple times, we've gone on trips, like we've built a business. There's so many things, and that's why I say focus on what you have accomplished. There are so many things that I still want to accomplish with my business, and I know I will, but I have to keep going. And I want to leave you with that drive as well, that keep going, even when it's hard, even when you're not where you want to be, even when you are like, I'm never gonna get where I want to be. You definitely won't if you give up. So if you have something you're really passionate about, definitely keep going, keep moving forward. I cannot picture a version of myself that isn't writing books. It's something I've wanted my whole life, for as long as I can remember. I have journals from when I was 6 years old of stories. It's never not been a part of me. It's always gonna be a part of me. So keep pushing forward if you have something that you love that much. I wish you guys all an amazing December. I hope it's not 8 months before I see you on here again. Thank you for those of you that have stuck with me this long, that continue to support me, continue to stick with me. Please, if you have the 2 seconds and you've made it this far, like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Subscribe to my blog or my newsletter on my website, ShalenaBattles.com, because hopefully some stories start trickling out really soon. Thank you guys so much. Have an amazing week. I'll see you soon.